So this is the original pick guard. Well, the pick guard that came on it when my friend gave it to me. This is not the original pick guard. As far as I'm aware, these Mahars did not come with pick guards. So somebody must really like diamond plating, because that's what they clearly made it out of. And it's some kind of plastic. And here's the truss rod cover they did the same thing with. But you can see it's just a little plastic piece. This is actually pretty solid, whereas this pick guard is very it's not made from the same material. It's a lot thinner. There's no issues with that, but you know, it started peeling up and doing stuff like that, so wasn't 100% pleased with it. It looked alright with the high gloss, and especially when I threw some pink strings on here, it looked pretty good, but it's not the look I'm going for right now. So I am going to make my own custom pick guard. So this is the pick guard that I decided to go with. I actually made two. I got this one, and then I have this one. Obviously these are not the materials that I'm using for it. It's just a template that I made. And how I made these templates, I first tried measuring, and that just epically failed, because if you look, there is more wood on this part than there is on this part. So this is actually off-centered. So measuring just got way too complicated and inaccurate, and the finished product just looked awful. So what I did, if you can see it better here, I made individual sections. So I just laid down a piece of paper, laid it across, and then kind of drew the ruler, made my straight lines, and I made it piece by piece, as you can see from the back side, like that. And originally I did have these little horns that was going to go all the way up like that, but I decided against those. So once I had my finished taped up flimsy template, I went ahead and made one out of cardstock that is whole, like this. And then after looking at that, I was like, not sure how I feel about that middle piece. So all I did was take that one that I had, because I had made two of them, and I cut that center part out. And I asked a few people what they thought of it, and most people seem to like this one better, and I tend to agree. I do like this a lot better. So this is the template that I'm going to go with, and I will show the materials in just a minute. Alright, so what we have here, and just a side note, the person that I ordered this, the company that I ordered this from, said they normally ship these things out in rolls because it's easier and a little bit cheaper. But when I told them, hey, I'm making a pick guard out of it, I don't really need it rolled up, is there any way you can ship it flat? They're like, yeah, no problem. So they shipped it flat for me. So nice big box. And there's the pick guard. Just kidding. I mean, it is the pick guard, but this is what it is. It is brushed aluminum. I mean, it's not real aluminum. It's, matter of fact, this might be the same material the original pick guard was made out of that I pulled off. But this is a lot easier to cut. I could cut this with scissors, and you might see a bunch of scratches and such. It just has a protective film on it, as you can see right here. I'm going to trace my pick guard out from the template I have onto this, and then cut this out, and then I'll remove the protective film. That way there's no chances of it getting horribly damaged. Alright, so time to trace, and I'll get back to you. So I got my template attached to my sheet, and you see all I did was put small amounts of tape, just kind of keep it centered, keep it from moving around so that there's no unfortunate cutting errors or tracing errors in this case. So the old adage, measure 3 times, cut once. Well, you know, I already did that aspect, but now I am making sure it lines up perfectly before I even trace it and cut it, so that the finished product goes on perfectly. Alright, so I have the stainless steel now cut out. On the original template that I had marked out the places for the pots to go through, and all I did was right in the very center I just kind of made an indentation with a pair of scissors, and then I took a drill bit that is the right size to go into that cavity, and I drilled out the holes for it. When I put it up on here, however, the holes did not line up. So all I had to do was adjust right here in the neck pocket so that it would go up high enough for those holes to line up, and they did. So that is wonderful. I am actually going to go ahead and temporarily put my pots through, just kind of hold that section in place, so I can go ahead and start drilling holes for my screws. So I kind of did a thing. I actually messed up the original pickguard I had on there. I did not think about this, but because of how thin this material is, when you put screws in it, it's going to bunch up. So it did this little number. It was just kind of hard to do with one hand, but you can kind of guess this. You can kind of see what it's doing right here. How it just kind of bends. So putting screws in this, I decided against. So I did something I really hope I don't live to regret later, and I used crazy glue. More specifically, this crazy glue. Got it from the Dollar General. I've used this stuff. It's got a massive hold on it. I actually had a car part that fell off a car once, a piece of molding. I used that, put it on the car, and drove the car for another 2 years, and that piece never fell off. So, stuff works. If I ever need to remove this pickguard for some reason, I'm probably going to have a difficult time. It's probably most certainly going to damage the paint job, but in all honesty, I don't care. It's my guitar. This is the pickguard I want on it, and if I ever change the pickguard, I can just fix what's underneath when I come to it. But for right now, I'm thinking that's looking pretty nice. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put everything back on it, all the stock stuff, and go ahead and let you hear what it sounds like. And then I'm going to start replacing things. So, there we go.